Hello, everyone. This is your GM in the Great Barrier, broadcasting from the center of your entertainment galaxy. We are back tonight with Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword. We've been out a couple weeks, and we are now back for the thrilling conclusion of the cliffhanger we left off with and the delivery part 3. For those that might be able to catch live streams in the future, you can catch us on Twitch at twitch.tv/GM in the Great Barrier. And we are airing Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to catch it, there should be a link in the description. And of course, for everyone else for everyone here following us in the Twitch chat, there is of course the full archive, which is on YouTube. We have that for both this series and our Enterprise era game, Star Trek Adventures Aegis. So I would encourage you to check out those playlists whenever you get the chance. For those following here on Twitch, that link is in the chat now. So, with all that, let us get into the start of the game proper. When last we left off, the Yan, an old Klingon raptor that has been steadily repaired by Tabak, the ship's chief engineer and the leader of the House of Cord, has been brought back up to ready condition with the handy assistance of his Gorn engineer's mate Raldar, and in part between your recruiting and that of the other Klingon owner of the ship, Captain Kal'Vak, you had assembled a crew and set forth on a voyage to Kal'Vak, known to those saying the Federation as the Briar Patch. The mission happened under somewhat surreptitious circumstances, which is to say, Tabak, that you did not know the cargo. An affront in and of itself, given how much you have put into bringing this ship back up to working condition. These past days in transit have been stressful ones, as Kal'Vak has grown more hostile, and his Nausicaan bodyguard had inhibited your ability to learn what was going on within the contents of the cargo bay. They'd been restricting your access, and it's just generally been an unpleasant go of this trip. Those difficulties they grew further than you realized, for Tabak, as you learned, your doctor, the Gorn Kresik, reveals that he was brought to this ship not by the prospect of whatever riches you could gain from this, but instead by coercion, as Kal'Vak threatened to expose him or otherwise create great difficulties for him. As such, he was not here of his own volition, and the more that Kal'Vak proved intransigent, and the more that he refused your every request, the more the seeds of dishonor started to manifest, and very particularly his dishonor. When at last you were able to extract the information, particularly by bypassing the Nausicaan guards and going into the engineering, or rather the cargo deck through through a sort of back way, you discovered just how deep Kal'Vak's treachery extended. Very specifically, that he seemed to be selling Kusha, the Klingon variant long since afflicted by the Kuvat virus, who are physically distinguished by the loss of their cranial ridges, and who some in the Empire still to this day contend have lost all hope of ever gaining honor. The very
Like me.
type of Klingon that you are personally. And as you made your way to the bridge with your fellow officers ready to bring down Kal'Vak's security, indeed killing both Nausicaans in the process, you discover that he is indeed about to sell these Kusha very specifically to Orion traders. Um, you made a point to challenge him in a duel, at which point everyone was present on the bridge, uh, save for the Nausicaans that were dead. The duel was not going particularly well for you, however, and Kal'Vak seemed to repeatedly gain an upper hand, landing fairly staggering blows. As the as you locked blades, the situation changed fairly significantly as the ship was buffeted by the detonations of nearby photon torpedoes. For as Mr. Korg has discovered, an Imperial squadron of D5 or D6 battlecruisers, also known as the Kal'Vak, have uncovered your deal and are joining the fray. And so let us pick up from that point. First, with the immediate focus on the bridge, both of you are, well, rather, all of you are sort of shaken around as the ship rocks from the proximity of nearby photonic blasts. The shields have thankfully already been raised. They've been up essentially uh, since you entered the anomaly, but it was going to be lowered before the transport, of course. However, the duel has delayed this. As such, to our dueling combatants, the uh, shock of the concussive waves against the ship has momentarily shaken you apart, and both of you are struggling to regain your footing. Tabak, I will say that at this point, you or indeed any other bridge officer would have the initiative to act.
Yes. Have I regained a single point of determination?
Yes, as GM, I'm allowing that to come back on a per session basis, so your determination is renewed in your fight against Kal'Vak.
How many ways may I spend this determination?
That is an excellent question. Uh, when it comes to points of determination, there are generally four ways that this can be used. So the first one is essentially to allow yourself an automatic critical success. Essentially, whenever you make an attack, or rather attempt a task, and you invoke a value, that fundamental belief to your character that allows you to tap that determination. Before even the dice roll happens, you may treat your dice pool as if you automatically have a die that has given you a critical success. So that's two successes, and then you roll on top of that, and whatever happens there, it adds to your total. Um, the second alternative, when you spend your determination, you can actually use it to re-roll all of your points, or rather, all the dice within a dice pool for a task that you've just attempted. So, say that you go into a melee or go into some difficult task and you get a lot of zeros or even a complication, your determination can be used to essentially allow you to re-roll as many of those dice as you wish. Um, Third use would be that you can simply or you can use it to ignore an injury automatically. There's also a momentum purchase that allows you to do that. But essentially, avoiding an injury allows you to stay in a fight, because if you receive a non-lethal or lethal injury, that does technically incapacitate you. And if you don't receive help in the case of a lethal injury, you are dead if the scene closes and nobody has assisted you. The final way that you can spend that determination is simply to create an advantage, to create some sort of narrative shift that allows you to gain the upper hand. And to an extent, the limit is your imagination. the GM may, with an expenditure of threat, at least somewhat countermand that. If you went from Tabak is like completely, or is basically left at your knees automatically with with the mechleths to his neck, and I don't know, the cat tells you to do it, in reference to decapitating him. I might spend some threat to say that he is at least, he has lost one weapon, and but not like in a position for you to just execute him automatically.
Mm-hmm. So spending the determination and invoking one of my values. If I recall correctly, that then eliminates that value from my list of values.
So no. You can challenge a value if you wish to gain a point of determination back. Essentially, how that works is that you decide on one value that you think in this situation your character deems unnecessary or that no longer fits their circumstance and get rid of that. Between sessions, we would replace that value with a new value that reflects the experience that was in and how their core belief changed, essentially.
All right. So what I think I will do, because if I remember the situation from when we were last here, right before the ship was fired upon, I had taken a very substantial amount of damage. Um, I had not incurred an injury because I spent the last of our momentum to avoid that. um, but really, if he hits me one more time, I'm going down. So I think what I would like to do is spend my 1 point of determination and use my value of as long as there is life, you fight, and try to kill this son of a gun.
Spectacular. So, go. Are you going in for the attack with the mechleths then?
I have only one left because I did lose one in the fight. It was knocked out of my hand, so I have but one at the moment.
Indeed, you are correct. In which case, I will allow for you to roll on that. The task is a daring and security roll. Um, it happens at a base difficulty of 1, but it is an opposed task, so you will have to beat whatever Kal'Vak rolls here.
And so I'm getting 2 dice,
Yep.
but that is on top of a critical success.
Yes. And you may buy additional dice by giving the GM threat, if you so
Question.
wish.
Question.
Yes.
Would I be able to assist him by throwing him back his second mechleth since I am closest to him?
Ooh. I will allow for that, and we're going to make this a sort of special condition here. So if the assist is successful, then you will be able to roll damage with that with the dual mechleths there.
Okay.
Tabak.
Okay, I like that. How do we do this?
All right. So first and foremost, I'm going to need to ask you to roll that daring and security task. And then Rev, if you would have a Kresik roll. I think that daring and security would also be appropriate here, as you are you're essentially making a toss here. And oh no, that is a complication with your roll there, Tabak.
But he still succeeded.
Yes,
So
he
on the
does
second
still
roll,
succeed.
my assistance. No focuses, right?
I do not believe so.
Personal combat, I don't think that really applies.
Yeah, that's not quite the situation that you are in here.
Alright, 1d20.
All right.
Okay. This is a good start.
Yeah,
And
great.
Kal'Vak is going to spend a point of threat for his Yeah, he's calling on his warrior spirit here, such that this dishonorable cur has it. So he will roll against your dice with control security. Oh, he scores one success, but he gets a complication.
Oh, God.
Yes. So
These digital
you
dice do not like me. They really don't.
first, Tabak, I'm going to ask, with regard to your complication, you cannot buy it off. Would you prefer to accept a narrative complication or to give the GM 2 points of threat?
I'll take narrative. I don't want to give you any more ammunition against this at the moment, seeing as we're currently out of bullets as it is.
All right. So, how to play this out here? I have an interesting idea. Okay, so Tabak, the first, in terms of your attack, you do indeed manage to to connect and just sort of you basically, as your blade clashes with his sword, you pull on every sort of you
Reserve
pull
of strength I have.
yes to push in, and as you manage to just sort of get you manage to drive into um, Kal'Vak's drive Kal'Vak's blade back towards him. He is caught somewhat unawares. However, it does occur to me one thing, since I have used warrior's spirit in this case. He does technically get a reroll. Oh dear.
Oh man.
Your as your blade catches the or as your blade seems to drive in and very nearly catches like up to his chest essentially,
Uh-huh.
it stops as he brings every bit of his rage to bear to drive the blade back towards you. And rather than do damage in this case, he is going to basically use the blade to sort of pin you. His sword right, like driving your mek'leth to where the dull edge is kind of pushing towards your chest, and he's going to just step by step push you forward against the wall and have you like hunched forward. He just gets in your face. Your your little mutiny ends here, Kusha. And when I get through with this, and when I have that cargo squared away, perhaps I shall visit the House of Cord as well.
So he's threatening my family now in my house.
Yes, yes, exactly. And I'm the GM will offer to accept threat if anybody else wishes to do something right in this moment.
I'd like to try and sneak attack him.
You made it! Yay!
Yay!
Melee or energy weapons? How are you going about it?
I was planning on barehanded, but
That
I
works.
guess energy. Oh, that works? Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I just want to pick him up like he's a kitten. Just back of the neck. Let's see here.
Daring and security.
Let me see. And Would deception count as or sleight of hand for this? Since I don't have the word stealth in there for my focus.
Mm, for the type of grapple you are trying to do, I don't think it would work.
All right. Okay.
Oh
Oh.
dear. You go in to try and grab this Klingon gentleman, but even with your considerable strength, um, his capability. He's a very heavy, bulky dude. He is definitely bulkier than the Klingons that you fought back on Guotakor. And so, as you attempt to go in, he just basically backhands you. Nothing that does damage, but it does basically send you staggering back.
Oh. Oh, you're gonna be fun, mate.
And you will be dead. To which,
Oh.
as he has Tabak pinned, he's going to attempt to simply pull out his disruptor and try to blast at you there. Whoa. So let's see how that goes.
Oh, he pulled a gun out in a knife fight.
Yep. There we go. All his honor is gone now.
Yep. The blast is going to very narrowly miss, just basically ducking, well, rather going just above Woe's head. It is close enough that there's the greenish bolt of the disruptor swirls before your eyes and lands on the deck plating just behind you, sending up a mess of sparks and ozone that feels greatly uncomfortable.
I look at the wreckage behind me and I look back at him and I say, "Let me guess. This never happened to you before." And then I pull my own gun out on him.
Oh dear. Control and security then.
I'm gonna shout, "Quit blowing holes in my ship!"
And Woe will take that order to heart, scoring 2 successes on that roll. So you hit roll damage for your disruptor. And let me ask, was that a lethal shot?
No. I'm going for unconscious.
Point of order. Klingon disruptors don't have a stun setting.
Indeed not, but you can at least aim in less critical areas, I suppose.
Okay.
Or it's not it's immediate death versus a slow, painful death that somebody could conceivably treat. That's
Gotcha.
how I view disruptors.
All right.
I guess. Oh God, I don't. Oh, that's a little bit of a decision then. Oh,
Shoot him in the
no
gut.
one's gonna treat him on this ship. That's the thing.
It doesn't count. You know what? It doesn't matter. It's fine. He dies how he dies.
Are you sure nobody's going to treat him?
If I okay, you know what? Do you think I'm asking out of character? Would Krezik treat him?
I have a value that says if they breathe, they are my patient.
All right then. I go for the non-lethal injury or the slow lethal injury, anyways.
Yep. Okay.
Cool.
Roll damage for that disruptor then.
Oh, how do I do that?
There should be in the bottom left of your character sheet. There should be weapons, but there are none. Why do you not? Why does the security person not have weapons in this?
Well, she's competent like that. She rarely needs them.
Somebody
Okay.
forgot to enter them on their character
Oh
sheet.
All right. Alright, Destructor Pistol is just Vicious 1-3.
Yep, and I have just added one for you there, Ray. So go ahead and roll your disruptor pistol.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Great
6,
heavens.
7, 8. 8.
Indeed, that is 8 points of damage. So that blast is going to go right into Kal'Vak's side, straight center of mass. It is somewhat mitigated by, or very slightly and by slightly I mean maybe a point of resistance by not the armor that he's wearing because it's not true armor, but he does have the Brack Lol, which does give him 1 point of resistance to all types of injuries. So actually, no, +2 since you're going for
yeah.
non-lethal. Nonetheless, that is still 6 points of damage. That is enough for the injury. He's going to immediately clutch his side as he loses his footing and like leans towards the center of the deck. In doing so, Tabak, you are no longer pinned, and his blade has lost contact with you as he tries to use it to give him a support.
Then I'm going to stab him.
All right, go in for daring and security. This one is just base difficulty 1.
Strike him down.
Let's see if I can do it.
You can do it.
Oh,
Yes!
You
That's
got
what
it.
we did.
Whoa.
That's what we did.
That is 3 successes on that roll. Tabak, give me the full detail. How do you kill Captain Kal'Vak?
All right, so he is not quite prone, but he is bent over, supporting himself. He has a batleth, or does he have a tikleth?
He has, I believe
The
it's
straight
the
sword.
yes, the latter form of the sword.
Tikleth.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Tikleth.
All right, so he's got the tikleth. He's bent over, supporting himself, probably hand on wherever he just got shot. So I knee him in the face, knock him to the ground, and then put my face into his and say, "You dare to threaten my family?" and drive the mek'leth into his gut, right below the rib cage, up in there, and get his heart. That's the plan.
Roll for damage. Oof.
6.
There you go.
Yep, that's that definitely wasn't a lethal blow, so you will indeed, as the blade goes through his chest cavity, there's a moment where the resistance diminishes slightly. He exhales and then starts coughing. Spurts of the reddish purple blood start coming from his mouth and start bleeding out of his nose as the life fades from his eyes.
At which point, I hold his eyelids open, stare at them, start that deep growl in the chest, and tilt my head back and bellow to the souls in the afterlife that a Klingon warrior is on its way. And then, after that's done, I kind of stagger and get into the captain's chair and say, "Whoa, what is going on outside of this ship?"
Oh,
On it, Captain. And I slide over to Isaac and I say, "What do you need? What's going on?"
Well, I'm glad you asked because we have some company with a couple of ships that are coming into range.
And with that, we will shift to the tactical display as everyone begins taking their places here.
I have the Klingon theme running in my head right now.
Is our science officer capable of performing his duties currently? Or is he like, a blubbering mess on the ground?
I am going to check that out. So let us run that roll here. Definitely no focus, just for fluff. He is most certainly, he looks absolutely terrified over the present circumstances, but he, with the appropriate prompting, you could probably get him to do as you command.
Perfect. I look at him and I say, "It is going to be all right. I will assist."
Just do not hurt me, please.
Why would I hurt you?
You're mutineers. This is a Klingon ship. I know that. I know what the treatment is. I know what is to be expected. I may not know of your people, but surely to be in this company.
This is not mutiny, you fool. This is a challenge for leadership, and it is done. Your place in this crew, as it stands, is secure. Simply do your job.
I'll vouch for him. He's done really good when we've been up here. We've kind of developed a little bit of a friendship. He's good. He's good. He'll be all right.
The Rantal is positively bamboozled by the look at that, but there's some maybe semblance of gratitude there. With that, he starts looking over his display.
Tactical on screen now.
With that, you essentially get the look of the battle grid here.
Mhm.
Enemy forces, Imperial ships are closing. Range from minimum target approximately 40,000 Calicams and closing. The two are engaging the Orion cruiser, but the third is proceeding on an intercept course.
Suggestion to hail them, Captain. I look at
My
Tabak.
thoughts. My thoughts exactly. Do we have names of ships and captains?
They
It should be part of their. We should know who they are. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
Of character, they're the three wise men. We got Jack, John, and Sam.
Korg, give me, for starship recognition here, I think that this would actually be an appropriate con task. So give me an insight and let's see. I suppose we could go con here. Yes, give me insight and con, please. Okay. You will recognize, of course, that these are the Kal'Vak class cruisers. They've been the mainstay of the Imperial fleet for almost the past 50 years, essentially the successor to the older D5 battle cruiser, as some have classified it. But they are typical Imperial protocol would have them run with a visible transponder and to proudly proclaim themselves as they make an attack. These D6 cruisers are not running any official transponder that you can detect.
I'll be sure to relay all that to Tabak.
That bodes ill. Hail the one approaching. Demand intent.
Should we put shields up first?
Shields are already up.
They're
Shields
already
are
up. Okay. All right. I'll. I guess. Would I handle con as well, or do we have a con person?
Technically, Well, usually if Kal'Vak hadn't wanted to scrimp, then there would be a separate comms officer. But I will say that anyone who is able to could handle it. If nobody immediately wants to jump at that, I can just have the Rantal try to do it. I will allow, however, for what is the role? It would actually technically be control and engineering to attempt the task.
To just hail them? Okay.
Yeah, but it is difficulty 0, so it is a chance to earn momentum.
Oh yeah, did we get momentum from?
That is an excellent
Tabok's
point.
roll?
In fact, Tabok did earn 2 points of momentum. Thank you for reminding me there.
Oh, thank
The
you.
GM did also get a point of threat for the lethal blow on Kal'Vak. Real quick, who would like to be the designated momentum officer for this session?
Yeah, I'll take him.
All right, you can hold on to it today.
There you go, Robert. Okay. But if you want to juice that momentum a little bit more, you may attempt a communications task, control, and engineering, assisted by the ship's engineering and communications.
Go ahead and do it.
Okay. Anybody want to roll for the Yan? Or Yan, rather.
Oh, let me pull. All right, so
Come on,
that
Captain.
say, what are we rolling that for that now? I apologize.
That would be
Communications and engineering.
correct.
Engineer. And 2 dice, yes? As normal.
Yes. Well, for the ship, you only roll a single die. However, it is
then we'll
with
roll
a
one die.
focused. Either way, it's not
That's
nothing to it
unfortunate.
now. Yep.
Yeah, these digital dice hate me. That's all I can say.
On the plus side, you do at least get a momentum from.
I don't think he thinks something wrong happened. Null system 6?
That still is the communication system. Just sometimes you may need to actually click around the other systems for it to register that it is using that. Because I think communications can be the default one. If that is not the case, then
I
we
did
will.
click communications.
All right.
Communications and engineering, yes. And communications on the sheet says 6.
Yep. So you do indeed succeed at making the signal. If any of you wishes to monologue an opening hail to the approaching D6, then you may do so.
Approaching Klingon vessel. Identify yourself and declare intent.
Oh, with that, I think just from they would technically be at long range, so this cruiser is going to go ahead and make its intentions known.
By shooting at us.
Indeed, so they are going to attempt a slightly longer shot here, so that will be control and security from them. Assisted by the ship's weapons and security. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, that is a complication, and if you would like, you may pitch something if you wish. However, I do have something in mind that would provide you some help if you wish to accept the complication.
I was gonna say I think someone hit a pocket of Metreon gas.
Like minds.
That's what I was thinking as well.
All right. So
hopefully much closer to them.
now the nearest of the D6s is going to make an attack on you, and they are going to they target for your ship. As the disruptor beam fires out, it will connect, but it is the moment it is traversing through, it does actually collide with a Metreon gas pocket that is very close by to them. Let's see, for this, that would, if notes have it right, it's going to be 6 challenge dice for that pocket. And because this is a fairly significant sort of anomaly in this area that's going to have, I definitely awarded the vicious effect. I think that it would also, sorry, I had the notes here and now I've misplaced the info on the cloud here.
It's okay. They'll just blow up and we're fine.
Yes. I was thinking, I think that high yield would be the other element here. So this cloud's going to go up with quite a burst, and that is, oh dear, that's 4 at base, and then 3 of the dice that were rolled there were effects, so that gives it the vicious effect. It also has the high yield, so with that, it is a total of 7 damage, which will be enough to cause a breach, and because it has high yield, that will be 2 breaches. The first I will automatically assign as part of that complication to the weapons, so their weapon system will be impacted, and then they will suffer 1 additional breach, which should be to their, that is a 13 on the die, so that should impact their structure as well. Which means 1 additional roll just to see. Okay, their command and control is momentarily jostled about. However, that beam did connect with you still, so they are going to roll damage. I should clarify, they used their banked weapon, which for the time being is actually a phaser weapon. So they're going to...
Oh no.
That seems like entirely too much, but no, scale 4, security 4. Okay, yeah, that is enough. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 points of damage.
That's all of our shields. That's 2 breaches.
Indeed, that is. So let's see where those dice rolls land. That is an 18 and a 9. So by the damage table, just pulling that up here. It had been my hope, I should say. I must apologize both to the player group and to the audience at home. There were plans to have a damage set here that would a damage table that would automatically handle some of these things for us. Regrettably, it decided not to work. So, while I am rewriting...
Oh wait, we have a resistance of 4.
Yes, you do have the armor there, so that will cut it down to 6 damage. That is still enough for 1 breach. So let's see what that does.
Well, if it's that first one, it's weapons.
In which case, yes, just verifying here. We will go with the first. Well, wait, 18. That would put it. Yes, I would put it as weapons. So that is going to be a direct hit to the weapon system. Its disruptors lance out and connect with, or the phasers rather, lance out, connecting directly with with one of the port wing mounts. and there are some explosions rock the ship as the phaser breaks through the shields. While some is dispersed by the armor, there are readouts showing that your phaser systems have taken considerable, or rather, your weapon systems have taken considerable damage. At a scale 2, your weapon system is considered damaged, which would mean that, let's see here, for weapons, first off, as an impact, it does mean that it is momentarily inoperable until you restore it. The I recall there being a section here that would explain the full impact here. Until repairs have been made to the weapon systems, there's an increased difficulty to use the system by 2, and any repairs must be conducted at a difficulty of 3.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we do the whole shimmy and shake in our chair.
Exactly.
Ugh, good job. Raldar, get to work. Get the weapon systems back online. Kresic, get me something to get me moving again. Me, not the ship. Fix me. Get me something to get me moving.
That is
Raldar fix things.
All right.
Your Gorn crew start lumbering about, setting to their tasks. Speaking of a particular task, it is, unless you are spending momentum to keep the initiative, it is there's basically an opportunity cost. You have to decide which task you want to do next, and I will allow you to ask questions before you get started, just since we are new to combat with this.
Yes. Now, giving them these orders are part of the whole shipboard combat. It is not separate from the ship combat. I'm correct in that.
So you can, as a matter of fluff, say that your character is giving these orders. In terms of the actual conduct of the ship combat, as far as roleplay as far as the mechanics go, you can use an order to essentially help one of them. It's the direct task, where you get to use your command and or your presence and command to assist one of their roles. And unless I am terribly mistaken, you actually get the opportunity to use a full 2d20 roll as opposed to the standard single roll to assist. That is at least how that is how I have understood the rules, and I'm double checking here just to be absolutely certain. It seems as though it's just treated as an assist, so you may use command and control essentially to boost somebody's task, basically.
All right. So while I'm still handing out orders, Woe,
Yes, Kitten.
do we have targeting? And Azik, plot us a course away from this. Figure us out a way to hide.
All right. So Ezek is doing evasive maneuvers, and I'm fucking up the ship. Okay.
Yeah. So the question is here. The question still remains: what do you wish to do first, and what would you be assisting with? Because these basically. The way that ship combat works is that you are taking turns, much as you would in ground-based combat. And so it'll alternate between one of them doing something and then the opposing ships doing something in terms of initiative. You had the first go with the communications, basically, but the Klingons have obviously engaged you, or that is to say, the Imperial fleet has.
Yeah, but the Imperial fleet is acting all sorts of sneaky and not identifying themselves, which
No.
I find odd.
Yes.
I think what we should focus on is Azek doing his evasive maneuvers and trying to get us the hell out of here, because it's going to take Raldar a couple of minutes to get somewhere to fix the weapon systems, and that I can help him with.
Indeed so. Azek, would you prefer to just try to put some distance between you, or would you prefer the evasive maneuver option?
Well, with have our sensors haven't been damaged too much, have they?
They have not.
All right. Let's start by scanning for Metreon gas pockets if we can, and try to evasive maneuver around those. So if they do try to shoot at us again, they're going to meet with a rather explosive outcome.
Okay, so I'll tell you what, I will allow you to roll your evasive maneuver task with, that would be, I'm going to call this daring and con because you have some sense from your navigational sensors of where some denser pockets are. To give you a little perspective, the way that the area that you are in right now is it's essentially the way that you came into Kal'Vak. There are sort of corridors that could be navigated, but they're easier compared to other areas. The like inside the or like through the corridor walls, quote unquote, it's basically denser gas clouds with a lot more combustible like combustible compounds, metron gas, what have you, where the risk is much higher in terms of even like possibly igniting it with the ship's plasma. Um, Here it's less likely that you would run into it, but still not entirely improbable. So you can use the ship's navigational sensors to try and hug like through those as best as you can, or create some issues for the Klingons to even be able to get a firm lock on you, essentially. So give me that daring and con roll, if you please.
I would like to. I've not done this yet, but I do have the focus of piloting that I think would be fitting here. So I would like to use that if I could.
Your focus would most definitely apply here.
Okay, so I set in roll 20. I set the focused use to yes. Task roll 2d20, daring, con. Boom. Okay.
All right. Also, quick apologies to those watching here. I've made a very slight adjustment so as to make sure that the rolls are a little more visible, a little easier for you to see. But yes, that is going to be. That will not quite be enough. You did score a success there, so you can actually still have the ship assist you. If I recall correctly, the evasive maneuvers will require engines and con to assist. Or no, structure and con.
Yeah, structure and con.
Somebody else going to roll that? Or am I going to roll that? I guess I'll roll that.
I'll grab it. Structures and con.
Okay.
Oh.
Sorry, I rolled it. I thought I was talking.
All right.
That's okay. It didn't help anyway.
So
Perfect.
So there are no complications, at least, which means you do not fly into the gas cloud. However, it is not going to give you quite the advantage you were hoping. It seems as though the D6 that made its initial attack was just unlucky, and in essence, you caught a slight break in terms of the cloud that they caught, but it's not likely that they're going to hit a second one, or at least not with what you're able to do. So let us keep going then, and the team aboard the D4 that made its attack is going to need a moment to recover. While they are doing that, I'm going to have the other Klingon ships go, as they are still busy engaging the Orion cruiser. The ship up here is considerably closer, so they can fire their phasers without any increase in difficulty. And that is going to hit. So as you try to evade any future shots or make it more difficult, on the visual you see scenes of the battle ahead of you, where the cruiser is busy engaging the other Imperial ships. The furthest D6 from your position fires out the sickly yellow beam of its from its phaser banks, mounted on either wing. The beam connects with the Orion shields, and while it lands fairly succinctly amidship, it does not break through with the size of the cruiser. They can afford to take a few more shots than you. As a matter of fact, they're actually slightly armored, or rather, they have improvements to their hull integrity, so they don't take much damage at all. I will give them an opportunity to make one roll here, after which I will shift the initiative back to you. And they are just going to make a straight run for it. So they're going to fire up their impulse engines. With no success on that main task, they're not going anywhere. They're having trouble navigating through the area. So the initiative will go back to you.
Okie dokie.
No.
All right, so Azek is getting us moving, trying to put clouds of Metreon gas between us and the ship that fired at us. Now, whatever. Again, I'm still hurt, so.
We also didn't exactly tell them we murdered the man responsible.
No, we did not. But we asked for their name and what their intentions were, and they shot at us instead of identifying themselves. So apparently, the captain heard me and said, "Let them eat static," and shot at me anyway. So I guess we'll go with Waldar trying to fix our weapon systems, whether it be a targeting issue or a power issue.
All right.
We only have a few torpedoes, and we've got two big disruptor cannons on either side of the bridge, and two smaller disruptor turrets back on the rear of the hull. So guns are kind of limited, but we need whatever we got. So I guess Raldar, we probably should get him to fix whatever he can fix.
All right, it's change position, minor task.
Yep.
It's only a difficulty of 3.
Indeed so.
So, can I spend a momentum for an extra die?
I will allow... if the player group has no objection.
I have no objections, and how do I help? What am I rolling? Control and engineering?
If you are assisting on... if you're staying on the bridge, then you can use your direct task to do this. Basically, you use command and presence to assist the roll. So single d20. But
Hands off
Raldar
my-
will be taking on the. He'll be doing the control and engineering role.
All right, so let's see how badly these digital dice will mess with me now with my assistants. Oh, look at that.
Yep, so
And I'll use and I assume my shipboard tactical systems focus applies.
I will allow that, yes.
Bah.
Raldar, you lumber your way down to a nearby engineering console, or like I would say that you you managed to clear your way back down towards the reactor pit. Um, from there, you are better able to manage some of the power systems and find that one of the charging coils for the disruptor system has been damaged. You are able to bypass that and restore power to the weapons. It's a very fragile system since you honestly weren't planning on challenging the Imperial fleet this day. I wasn't expecting to take this into combat, scenario, or at least of an opponent of this scale. So this bypass will not hold if the weapon systems receive damage again.
We will not hold in a fight.
Yep.
We leave, Commander.
But yeah, so with that, you do manage to restore that, and Tabak does earn you back a point of momentum with the direct action that he took.
Yep, got
Do
that.
some.
So, as a matter of fact, yes. Sorry, I realized that you had spent the momentum there, so I'm just sending that back out your way. All right. So with that, the nearest of the Klingon vessels, having had a moment to reorganize themselves or recover from the nasty little breach they suffered to structure and weapons, they are going to take a moment to restore themselves, or rather restore their weapons, and then they are going to engage their thrusters. So they will move into double checking the task here because I believe with thrusters, yes, they are simply going to use it to move another zone here. And that will put them at medium range from you. So that will be their task for this. What is your next move?
I want to maintain distance. So I guess Azek, move us away from them. Keep them at long range. I don't know. Like, can we move? I can't indicate anything on the map.
Oh dear.
We're seeing any way to indicate anything on the map. Yeah, how do you do that?
Well, you should be able to. So, if you notice on the on the left side of your screen on Roll20, there should be a bar. One way that you can interface would be to select the cursor option on the top of that white bar. You can click on that and then click on a part of the map that will put up a light. There's also essentially midway down just between the cloud and the magnifying glass symbol, there is actually a map, essentially. Not a map, rather, there is a sort of distance symbol that should allow you.
I don't have any of those symbols in my bar here.
That is most unfortunate. Allow me to make something here. So that's can any of you see what I am tracing out?
Yes, I
Yes.
can see that.
Okay. These are not precise measurements here, but
The escape route. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I mean,
okay.
see, I can select the little picture of our ship. I guess I can change borders or values.
Yeah, let me
Change
make sure.
things about the token,
Yeah. You
colors and
should be able
whatnot.
to move the token from zone to zone as well.
Oh, well, I guess I can do that. That's where I want us to be. If we can only move one zone at a time.
Okay. That would depend. You can use thrusters to move you into the next zone. You can also use. You can attempt impulse engines. However, as you well know, as an engineer, the remnants of the supernovae that persist in this region are creating a very challenging situation for the manifolds just to be able to keep up.
Well, we've turned off the Bassard collector, so that should be okay. The biggest problem, of course, would be trying to move through this medium, so we can't really go at full impulse, but we could go probably maximum half impulse,
Yep.
which is still about half the speed of light, but that's still kind of iffy in this environment. But at the moment, I just want to maintain distance until we could possibly plot ourselves a faster, safer route out of here and away from these guys. I really don't want to fight them. I know that doesn't sound very Klingon, but I don't want to piss off the entire Empire.
Mm. Well,
That's
as you
me.
Yep. As you make your way, trying to put more distance between yourselves, the other battle cruiser is going to make one more attempt to close the distance, and this time, at some risk in the form of an increased complication range, they are going to try to punch their engines up to full impulse. So, and going to say that this is a commanding officer who gives the order here to give them a boost. That is one success. Or rather, that is 3 successes there. That is 5 right there in total. So that will put them in range, and the GM will get some threat to spare. So the battle cruiser begins weaving its way through the other bits of Metreon gas clouds that have that might impede their way. They seem to have at least slightly learned their lesson from their earlier experience, and they are going to clear the zones to enter very close proximity to you. They are aiming to. You could recognize that they are probably going for an attempt to seize the ship, if not destroy you outright. Yes, the turn goes back to you now.
Great.
And let me take the opportunity to say that if any of you wish to, if at any point you wish to discuss amongst yourselves the next move here, then you are welcome to do so. Of course, it can always happen in character. If you need a moment of meta discussion, then I will not stop you necessarily.
Okay, good. Again, I'm not really intimately familiar with the system. I'm intimately familiar with the technology of Star Trek because I'm a ridiculous geek. Yeah, they're gonna blow us out of space. Anybody got any recommendations?
So, this is the one that's already taken 2 breaches.
Mm-hmm.
You can only take 2 more before
Well,
I blow it up.
that is to particular systems. So they have, let me go back here. They suffered one breach to weapons and then one breach to structure.
Okay, so we're not playing with the NPC starship rules. Okay, that does change matters significantly. All right.
Well, I suppose I could always, for the sake of simplicity, I could always make this I could make this simpler for you on that end. I will say the D6s are scale 4 ships, so by that logic, they are considered damaged. Um, in order to be disabled, they would need to suffer another 2 breaches, and you would need to exceed that in order to destroy the ship outright.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. You were saying something.
It basically, because we have 4 momentum right now. Me and my science officer bestie, we can scan for weakness, and then spend 2 momentum to keep the initiative, so that Woe can then blow them up out of the sky if we wanted to.
Unfortunately, that was kind of what I was thinking at that point. So yeah, I guess that's what we're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to find us a weak spot, in their hull or in their weapon systems, whatever it's gonna take to damage them. If they've already taken hull damage, if we can exacerbate that wound, that would be good. We keep initiative, and Woe can work her magic.
Captain, can I suggest possible? This might sound a bit crazy. Idea. What
I
if?
entertain any notions?
What if the next attack, the next hit that they give to us, essentially make it look like it dropped all power to us? When they beam over here, we beam over there, and yeah, then we have 2 ships for your fleet instead of just 1.
Quick question, Mr. GM. What is the crew complement of a D6?
A lot more than a dozen officers and men. This is the generation behind what will eventually be the D7, so probably 200 to 300.
We need
And
to get out of here.
I suspect there's probably that's just crew. There's probably more Imperial Marines on board.
You can
And
take
yeah,
you can take them, Tabak. You can take them.
We need to get out of here.
Would they? I mean, I know we've like hailed them, but would they still be able to hear us if we, open hailing frequencies loud enough?
Oh no, they could hear us. They're just not responding.
Do
They
they?
know we said hello.
I know.
They returned the hello.
They
with
gave
a
you a
lot more
Klingon hello.
I
Yeah.
get that they gave us a Klingon hello, but I was gonna say, is it really honorable of them to like blast a whole bunch of civilians that we apparently have in cargo? Like,
They don't. That doesn't
tell
matter.
them. That's my point. That doesn't matter to them.
Doesn't matter.
There's
And
nothing more honorable than victory.
Correct.
Shit.
When all else is added up, nothing is more honorable than victory. But at the same time, the fact that their transponders are off, their ships are unidentified, and they have not announced themselves to us, all 3 of those things strike me as highly suspicious and less than honorable in and of itself. So, yeah, I'm kind of liking the find us a spot where we can stick the knife in and then chuck a couple of torpedoes in it, and let's go from there.
All right.
Are their shields up still? Because I would love to be able to just transport a photon torpedo onto their ship.
The Rantal is going to take a look at their passive at the Jan's passive sensors. Shield readout still shows they're above half shields.
Well, that's not gonna. Okay, so find me the hole in their belly, and then we'll throw some torpedoes at it.
All right.
Wait, disruptors are better against shields, and then torpedoes are better against hull. Correct?
That would be accurate.
All right, so we're going to have to knock some shields down and throw a couple of torpedoes at it. So we'll
All right.
get ready with all of our claws.
So, Kresic, I believe you were going to take the.
Me and my best friend, Dorantal, you know.
Huh.
Now, before I do it, one more crazy idea. They signaled their intent at us by firing at us. We could always target the Orion cruiser and fire at it to signal that we are not allies.
I don't think they care.
Okay. I was just throwing it out there.
I had thought of that, but again, I don't think they care.
All right.
So find us a hole to stick the knife in.
That I can do. So who's going to be taking a point on this? Is it going to be me or the Rantel?
You may. I will permit either one. If you wish to try and motivate the Rantal, then I will say it is a control and science task, of which, in a case where meta would be appropriate to share, this would be a combined score of 15 for the Rantal.
It's one higher than mine.
And he has a sensor operation focus. You may, of course, first give him some inspiration in narrative to do so. And you may also roll for the ship with a sensors and security assist.
Okay. And can I assist with a roll as well? Same. Since I'm not really going to be doing anything during space combat, can I use my turn as an assist, basically?
No, in this particular case, I shall be generous and allow some help here. I will ask, are you going for, are you attempting to inspire the Rantal to act further, either by intimidation or persuasion? Are you trying to man a secondary terminal?
So what I'm doing, as Kresic is there seeing what's happening, he saw this ship take a hit.
Indeed.
And he's no mechanic, obviously, but he's trying to use what he saw from the damage that it took to try to narrow the sensor focus on the areas that have already been damaged. Basically, I'm trying to do the broad scope stuff while he does the specifics on it.
I will ask you then for a I will ask you then definitely a science roll here. Let me think here. I suppose since you are working to narrow the band for the sensor scan, I will allow that to be control.
All right, I'm ready. Feel free to, because we need a success first before I can roll.
Yep.
All right.
And so that'll be 3 successes there. No help
from me.
No help from Kresic.
My hands are too big.
Yeah. Hands are too big to handle controls. You can, however, still, you or someone else can roll for the ship with sensors and security.
Alright, rolling that. No help from the ship.
Well, while there's no help there, you are at essentially close distance, so the momentum will, you will still get 2 momentum. And as a success has been scored there, you can now get your next attack will gain the Piercing 2 quality, and if any bonus D20s are purchased for the next attack, each of them will inflict an additional point of damage for every D20 purchased.
Ooh.
So,
okay, so we still have to maintain the initiative, so that would be 2
momentum, yes.
Right.
momentum. Okay. So that would leave us with 4 momentum.
Yep. Raldar, would you care to drop the 2 momentum there?
Yes.
So what is the weakness that we have managed to find, oh great GM?
The Rantal stresses over the combat going on about him, but tries to focus in on the terminal. They have attempted to restore their forward deflectors after the disruption from the Metreon detonation. However, I am picking up a very narrow imbalance in their shield grid. If we target through there, we could cause considerable shield disruption.
Whoa, did you get that? Whoa.
All right, darling. Okay. I didn't get all of that. Sorry.
That's okay.
Basically,
shields.
they found a weakness, and the Rantal looks to you and says, "I am relaying coordinates to your console."
Thank you. All right. What should I roll here?
For an energy weapon attack, it will be a control and security roll with a difficulty of 2. The ship can also assist with a weapons and security.
I would recommend at least buying 1 additional die.
Yeah, I was going to ask how many dice we should be using here. I was going to go with 2 if no one has an issue with that.
I don't have an issue with it. That would be 3 of our momentum.
Okay.
We'd still have 1 left over.
Would there be any way for me to help by putting the ship into a tactical spot for it?
Generally, the way that would happen would be by use of an attack pattern, but that is a separate task in and of itself. So there's no assist you can do at the moment.
All right, so bring task roll up to 3 or 4?
How much were you spending?
2.
So you want 2 additional dice?
Yeah, that would be 3 momentum spent.
3.
So you can bring the task roll up to 4 there, Woe. And Raldar, if you drop those 3 momentum. And that is 1 success. First, you can roll for the ship, weapons and security.
Please, ship. Please,
This is
ship.
so bad.
You've killed us. You've killed us.
I'll kill you if you don't shut up.
Who are you?
I want to see how the ship goes first, because there's a way to get past this.
We have determination.
Yes, Woe has not spent her determination as of yet.
Alright, what's the ship roll? I heard weapons and what?
Security.
Alright.
Okay. Now, Woe, as we've discussed, of course, before, that you do have a point of determination. If you have a value that you can tap in this moment here that you think is relevant to the situation, then I will allow you to re-roll as many of those zeros as you wish.
All I have... Shit.
You can run through the list if you want, but otherwise, you can
the only
argue
thing I can... Sorry. I was gonna say, the only thing I think is the pack is truly strongest together since we're all, like, condensed into this goddamn cockpit. Or whatever it's called, I don't remember.
Bridge.
Shush. Shush. Don't you dare. Don't do this to me. Okay. Or do good that doesn't really. Oh, God.
Well, I think that, yeah, I would accept that the pack is truly strongest together because you are indeed working together with the crew to try and save the situation, and you don't want to be the weak link in this situation either.
I really, really don't.
All right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
for the dice in your personal pool there, you can roll as many of those as you wish. Obviously, only 3 of them are zeros, but I won't stop you if you decide to roll all 4.
Oh,
I
Oh,
see.
Lord
Jesus!
Almighty. Yeah, no, these dice
The
rollers,
dice rollers tried to kill you.
they
This
hate
is really bad. Why?
This is quite unfortunate.
unfortunate. I don't know.
Okay.
I think something's wrong with the dice.
This is
Uh,
unprecedented.
well,
I mean,
Yeah.
she needed a 14 or lower. Just the fact that all of them are
would
zeros is just absolutely ridiculous.
would you like to accept a narrative complication, or are you taking threat? Or are you giving me threat rather?
Oh God, I hate giving you threat. Guys, what do we do? Narrative or threat?
My man's already has 5 threat.
Oh,
Yeah.
narrative it is. You don't need any more. You are fat on it. Oh my God.
Well, narrative it is. You get a lock on the target coordinates, and as you figure little extra damage, you're trying to juice the disruptors a bit more and try to just hit them with a high-powered shot. The bypass that Raldar worked out doesn't hold for that, and you sustain damage to weapons. They are now disabled.
Yeah.
Or rather, the disruptor system has shorted out.
Why are
Right.
things blowing up back here?
Yep. Raldar, there's fire and rocks coming out of places where fire and rocks should not be coming out of. There's probably some
have
coming out around the
rocks!
bridge.
Why do we have rocks?
I don't know!
Rocks above the ceiling panels.
They
This
don't.
is awful.
Cashier's litter box!
No.
No, no. Ew, ew.
Okay, can I oh God, is there any redeeming this?
Not that I can
No.
think of.
Bravely
shit.
run
I don't think
away.
there's any way we can get out of this with honor.
Not really, no. Oh God.
It's
Okay.
it's honorable to run from a fight you can't win.
Yes, yes, it is.
Well,
Okay.
I'm going to say that I will give you the one more sort of moment to act as one of the other D6s will continue its assault against the Orion cruiser. So,
God, this is gross. Real quick, so that was only our disruptors are disabled. What about our torpedoes?
you still have torpedoes, I'm going to say. I decided to curtail the impact of the last complication very slightly, but you can still only indeed use torpedoes, which is much more difficult to use.
Goddamn. Of course it is.
As you are doing that, we'll say there is another phaser blast from the D6s against the cruiser. And with, that is 3, 5, 7, 8, 9 points of damage. The Orion cruiser is going to take, oh dear, they're going to resist most of that, but they're definitely being worn down. They're going to make one more attempt.
They've not fired back?
They've been trying to fire, but to no avail, and their crew's rolling absolute shit right now, so they're not doing much of anything.
Oh,
great. 2 turds in the toilet bowl. Fuck! Alright.
Okay.
All right, I got one more idea. Unless, I mean, whoa, you're gonna try to take the torpedo shot?
I was hoping we can do some evasive maneuvers while I try and take the torpedo shot, but fuck if it isn't hard. Oh, God. What's your idea, Captain?
Have Raldar drop some drive plasma and then go the other way, and hopefully they'll run into the drive plasma and not be able to fly.
Literally anything would work at this point because nothing's working.
Yeah, I want to fart in their face and run away.
Exactly.
Oh dear.
Truly, the height of Klingon honor.
Hey, it's the only thing I can think of at this particular time.
Start charging the Ward Corps.
Well, so you want to emit drive plasma to try and, I suppose that would on one hand make the shot more difficult, but I suppose it could also, this could also, if ignited, cause problems of its own for both ships. Would
Yeah,
the
well, at the moment, I think we just need to hold off on shooting and then drop the drive plasma, stop them in their tracks, and then book it out of here. Assuming we don't kill ourselves, which apparently the dice gods want us dead.
all right, I will say then, Raldar, I think that this is for you to create an advantage, as Tabak calls down the orders. So this will be a difficulty 2 roll, and I think that as much as I would like to do daring, I will allow you to do control and engineering.
Oh, yes. Far better.
Can the ship help?
The ship can assist with, let's call this engines and engineering.
All right, let's do
Great.
this.
All right, I'll roll. It's 1 die for the ship.
Yes.
All right, here's the ship.
All right.
All right. Let's do
So you just need a success,
Oh,
and that is 3 successes there.
4.
Momentum
because the
gain.
4
ship
successes, rather. 3 successes from Raldar. So that will net you back 2 momentum as you dump a considerable bit of warp plasma from the ship.
And then Azek, get us out of here.
But they're going to have one more go before you can escape because the turn order does go back to them.
I understand. Please don't hit us.
I'm going to say that they, at this point, they are going to attempt. Oh dear, what should we make this? I think that they will interpret this as further damage, showing that your ship might be at risk, so they're going to try to take a shot with disruptor cannons before either landing kill or incapacitating you so thoroughly as to be able to take you by force afterwards.
Brace for impact.
Yep. And
this is not good.
they are going in with a control and security attack. Control security roll for attack.
Oh.
The cloud does give them an increased difficulty of, or rather, the drive plasma does give them an increased difficulty of 1 to hit you. So, oh no, that's going to hit. And how bad is it?
Yeah, we're done.
6, 8,
Just
10.
2 more breaches. Because that's
Okay.
going to bring our shields to 0.
Yep. So that is 1 hit to structure and 1 to computers, I believe. Double checking this here just to make sure that my damage rolls are indeed correct there. Yes, it does look to be the case. So, for structure, this means 1 more fun roll. Specifically, I have to roll a single challenge die and see whether an effect is rolled, because if that happens, there's a lethal injury that hits somebody. Oh dear.
Hey!
Uh-oh.
I'm going to roll a d6 for the remaining crew that survive.
Can you let us know who's what number?
Yes, I will go in essentially order that order that everyone can see from the Twitch or the Discord chat. So 1 will be Tabak, 2 will be Raldar, 3 Kresik, 4 Woe, 5 Azik, and then 6, I suppose we will assign to the Rantal.
And 0 will be the GM.
Yes, if I manage to roll a 0, then I will suffer a lethal injury, and the chase will end as the
5 laws of probability of being able to roll 0 on a 6-sided die.
yeah.
Look, the animator had a heart attack.
Oh dear.
Thank you, Mr. Gilliam.
No, oh no.
Karmic retribution strikes, I suppose. Raldar, as you are trying to put out the fires that are emerging, a plasma conduit bursts and sprays you with flames and shrapnel. Your thick Gorn hide is able to take a good bit of it, but you recognize very easily that this could well end your life without treatment, and it is enough to leave you incapacitated. Further, the other damage that you have suffered has impacted the communications, so you have no way to signal for help right now.
Azik, get us out of here now. Full impulse. Oh, Jesus.
Alrighty.
Okay. This is going to be a control and con roll. Difficulty of, well, with impulse and with the particular problems navigating this, it will be a difficulty 2 roll. I'm also going to spend 1 threat to increase your complication range up to 2.
Okay. And how does the ship would add what?
Engines and con.
We have some momentum. That would be great.
Yes,
yeah, I would like to max our dice if we can. You think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
We can't quite max it because we only have 5 momentum.
But we can.
Yeah, you can buy 2 additional dice.
Yeah.
And I will be using my piloting focus, if that's okay. Still.
You want to buy 2 additional dice?
Yeah.
All right.
Ship help. The ship did not help. Great. Okay, ship wants to die.
All right.
That's what I like to see.
Oh.
And apologies. Okay. Yeah, with that, you manage to you kick the impulse engines into it like as hot as you can possibly run them through the nebula, dipping and diving in order to avoid igniting any of the Metreon gas clouds that are in your surroundings. As this is happening, Woe, give me an insight and. I'm going to call this Insight and Command. Difficulty. Let's see here. I'm going to set the difficulty to 3.
Alright. Shit.
You do have an inkling of something very wrong.
Can I spend my determination to do something?
If you are looking to avoid that lethal injury, then I would accept that.
No.
Oh, if you're looking to do something else, then go right ahead. Although the lethal injury has left you at least prone or very difficult to act.
Can I use my point of determination to turn on the warp core? Activate the warp core.
I think that the warp core should still be. I don't think
it's
that
on.
it was ever turned
It's
off.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant for like a jump.
Oh,
well,
you want to initiate the warp drive?
Well, that's done from the bridge.
It could.
It's not like we have to go ding ding and move the handle on the thing to let the engine room know that that's going to happen.
But I mean, it could be.
I could probably activate it regardless.
Yeah. So I will let you make the attempt there. Are you trying to essentially create an advantage, or are you aiming just to basically run a task to activate the warp drive in order to jump you just a little ways, essentially?
Yeah, because we need. I think I'm going to make it an advantage, so that somebody on the bridge would see that we're ready to jump.
Okay.
Or
Tell you what, I actually do want to see this as part of a task here, and while I will give you that, I will set it to a difficulty 2 roll, just so that the well, it would be difficulty 1, but I'm going to say that because of your injuries, you are working through quite considerable pain, so that'll set it to 2. The auto crit will allow you to succeed. I do want you, however, to roll control and engineering to do that as well, assisted by the ship's engines and technically con would actually no. For what I'm thinking, it would be engines and engineering as well. The roll, however, that you have to make, Raldar, comes with a complication range of 3.
all right.
Can Raldar get that last point of momentum for other
We
die?
should have more momentum because of how.
We just spent a whole crap ton of it.
You are correct, and let me
I
run that back
Ah.
there.
I'm gonna pass regardless. More dice just makes it more dangerous.
Okay. There's the ship.
Oh, yeah. So.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, very luckily that unguided warp jump that you initiated didn't send you deeper into Kal'Vak. But you fire the engines up and try to put as much distance between you and the ships as possible. On the bridge, you're watching from basically the aft display as the tactical shows that the D6 is firing up its impulse engines, trying to close the distance with you. They're at least keeping something relatively static, and you can tell they're arming torpedoes as they prepare to round another shot against you, and as you feel that slight familiar twinge, there is a sudden dropping of the lights drop off for a moment. The consoles flit before, for an instant before, coming back online as the EPS grid fluctuates, and you are suddenly rocked forward uh, by the ship engaging its warp drive in Kal'Vak. The interaction with the gas cloud makes it extremely turbulent for the few seconds that you are ahead at warp. However, it is enough to propel you well clear of the area of the gas cloud that you had that was so deep where you had rendezvoused with the Orions. You find yourself much closer to the edge, but with considerable damage.
But the cloud itself pretty much blocks sensor signals, so we don't know where they are, and they don't know where we are at this point. Correct?
Yes. For all they know from what they saw, it would have been difficult. They will probably have to run a sensor test of their own to determine exactly what just happened. But for all they know, you could have blown up. You could have just shot out of their range. They could have determined it was indeed warp drive that happened.
Can I attempt to scold Raldar through the con system? Do I know it's busted?
No, I'm gonna be yelling at him too. It's like, Raldar, what the hell was that?
As you try to do
Yeah.
that, there's no response. You find that the comm system is shorted out.
Goy, sha. Whoa, check on that fool down in engineering, please.
On it,
I
Captain.
said that's the human in me. Go check that fool in engineering.
All right.
The fool.
The little bit of human that all Kusha carry.
Ew. No, that was the human in the player, not the character.
Right.
Deal with your 2% human.
Well, you make your way from the forward section towards the aft of the ship. There are like support pylons that are fallen out of place, signs of like sparks and shrapnel, lights that have gone out. Klingon ships in general are not that hospitable, or they don't have the most homely feel. This is even less so the circumstance. The only thing that is worse in terms of that environment is a Klingon ship on fire. And
All right.
with that, with all of that said, the Raptor's engine room is by far the least hospitable. Not the least because considerable parts of the section are on fire, where bits of plasma are being emitted into the into the engine room.
It's a little warm in there.
Yeah, it's definitely heating up pretty quickly. It's probably just starting to taper off as a badly injured Raldar is slowly basically tapping buttons on consoles, maybe going for a manual shutoff in order to close off any vents or like compromised systems. But you can tell his flank is badly burned. There's probably some bits of shrapnel sticking out of him, blood seeping out from the wounds. The body language is kind of true across many species. You know that without intervention, Raldar is not long for this galaxy.
Oh God. Okay. Can I quickly assist in the damage control since I do have a focus in that?
I will allow you to do something there. I suppose that there are specific systems to repair, but I'll tell you, Raldar's not in particularly good shape to attempt any tasks right now. So unless you are doing something you could do something as the primary essentially, and like say get communications back online.
Yeah, all right. Let's shoot for trying to get the communications back online and put out whatever fires I can, possibly.
Okay.
Literally and figuratively.
Okay, so I'm going to say that is control and engineering with a difficulty of 3.
God damn it. Why? All right, fine. Fine. That's how it's going to be.
Narrative or threat?
All right. I'm giving you threat. I don't need the narrative today.
Do the narrative, and I fucking pass out.
The narrative is this: the previous scene has technically ended, so Raldar just dies.
No! I have to get his ass up to fucking Krezek. This is terrible. I should have just done that first, but I was like, oh. Okay.
Oh, I don't like dealing with blood. Oh, I'm gonna fix this. You stay right there. Just hold your guts in. Yeah, that's right. I'll be back.
Raldar, you can do the narrative. Raldar passes out, and now someone needs to drag him to the bed bay.
I can just carry his ass. I'm like 8'5".
Didn't think you were that
God.
And I didn't think you were that big. I'm sorry. I'm not picturing you as like real Kazinti size. I'm picturing you as, wow, okay. You're a lot bigger than I gave you credit for.
Whoa, did I mention you've probably hit your head on the bulkheads a few times?
Oh, I most certainly knocked myself unconscious, like, immediately. But,
That's
yeah.
where you were for that whole time that we didn't know where you were.
Yep.
You hit your head on a door in a closet and you were unconscious for a couple hours. That's why you missed a session.
Oh my god!
Somebody
Yeah,
just peeked
locked
in
the
and
closet.
thought you were taking a nap.
Yeah, cat napping in the
Oh,
closet. That's
yep.
my whole life. All right.
Okay.
God damn.
I will ask you for, let's call this a fitness and medicine roll.
Oh god, not medicine. Why did I not put enough in medicine?
Yeah, fitness Gorn on your shoulder to take him to get medicine.
Oh, you know what? You get a high five for that mentally in the face because I really can't reach you. But
Yep.
god
Um,
damn.
I'm going to say that it's a struggle, but you can slowly help. You can slowly help Raldar move along through the forward section.
Technically, you could yell and we would probably hear you because that main deck is essentially just one big long hallway from front.
Oh yeah, echo
from front
chamber.
to back.
All right, I yell, Krezek, man down.
I will allow talking to be a free action in this case and just say that there are very faint echoes of shouting from that can be heard from the bridge. The doors did not properly re-engage after Woe left the bridge.
Pretty sure none of the ship properly re-engaged after we went to warp.
More than likely, yeah.
All right, so I'll head my way down there. I hear screaming.
Usually, what's going to drag Kresic to you is just screaming.
Yeah.
His mating call. All right.
Oh, dear. Oh my. Couldn't resist. I couldn't do it. Nope.
Another one off the Star Trek bingo.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm not signing anything on the hull, however.
Yep. Kresic, as you rush your way down, the Rantal begins making reports. Damage is quite considerable. There are multiple fires and hull breaches. Further, structural systems are nearing critical. Weapons are functional. Partial weapon function is available, but shields are down, and there has been further damage to the communication systems remain disabled.
Blast. All right. I'm going to haul my broken self up, get back to the engine room, and see what, if anything, I can do to save my ship.
As you make your way down, you and Kresic do indeed catch Woe and Raldar making their way forward from the engineering pit.
Damn. Do what you can, Doctor.
I'm going to go over to him, to Raldar, and I'm going to try to do a first aid task on him to stabilize him.
All right. This would be a daring and medicine roll.
Yes. Can I buy an extra die? Because my daring is not that great.
Go right ahead. Take 2.
Go right ahead. One extra dice. Cheap.
Take 2 dice. So three momentum. Sure thing.
Yeah, please.
My emergency medicine. Will that apply?
Most certainly.
And I have cautious medicine, so I can reroll since I spent momentum.
Spectacular.
Oops! I rolled the wrong thing.
I will allow you to fix that and re-roll.
All right, and then I'm gonna re-roll my zeros.
Okay.
3 successes.
3 successes. So, if memory serves, the first aid task should only be difficulty 1, if memory.
I believe so.
Yes. So that will net you back 2 of those momentum.
And then I have the talent that lets me get him back on his feet, allows him to ignore injury without momentum spend.
All right. So that...
And I don't know if he took any wounds, but he'll regain stress equal to twice my medicine value. So he'll regain 10 stress.
Strictly speaking, I did not assign stress for that with the lethal injury there, but it does indeed come back. Raldar, you will very shortly, with Krisik's help, be back in sufficiently healthy condition to make or to get back on your feet and get back to the tasks at hand.
I walk over to him. I pull out my nasty revolver-looking hypo spray, switch it to the Gorn chamber, and just inject him with this thing.
Gloop.
Yes, it's not a pleasant feeling, but it gets you back on your feet and functioning.
It's the Gorn equivalent of adrenaline.
Yes, and there are chambers for all the different species. Don't worry, I got some for y'all.
Oh, goody, goody. Yeah. So I think the first thing I'm going to have to do in the engine room is put the fires out.
Yes. It's let's see. Going back over the situation as you arrive back in the engine room, it is indeed quite a mess. You're away for a few minutes, fighting for the honor, fighting for your honor and that of your ship and crew, and it all just goes to pieces while you're away.
Yeah. All right. So, what do I need to roll to put the plasma fires out?
Well, in order to make the sort of repairs that you have, let's see, it's with structure causing as many issues as it has. Let me double check here. You can at least begin to seal the breaches that have occurred from the structure. However, let's see here. In order to conduct the full set of repairs, this is going to be a control and engineering task with a difficulty of 4. Actually, because the structure has so badly ruptured and there are as many hazards as there are, you're going to actually have to deal with an increase in the complication range. It'll be set up to 3.
Oi.
The ship's resistance is also reduced by 1.
All right. So, control and engineering. Use my focus. I would think at this point, would I not have... Again, we got fires all over the ship, so electroplasma systems, would that be...
That'd definitely apply.
Okay, so using a focus. A talent of... I have 2 talents that might come in handy here. Jury rig and I know my ship. If I recall correctly, I know my ship applies to fixing things.
Yes, I'm going back over that myself. If memory serves, first I'm going to say that jury rig would be a possible selection. However, it does reduce the difficulty of performing a task to 2, or rather by 2. But these repairs are temporary, such that they only last in a single scene, plus momentum for any additional. For every additional momentum you spend, that repair will last a little bit longer, and then it will fail. But the I Know My Ship does allow you a bonus D20 whenever you are attempting a task to determine the source of a technical problem. So.
Okay, so All right, then I'll use I know my ship, which gives me another die.
Yep.
Which
The
gives me
jury rig would make it a difficulty 2 task to repair or at least seal off the structural breaches.
Yeah, but okay. Would
If you
that be
wish to
enough?
use it, you don't need to.
Yes. Would that be enough to get us somewhere?
Yes,
Or
you would just have to basically count on your momentum pool in order to last long enough.
okay, so yeah, I guess I'll use jury rig as well, which you said it does it. It reduces it by 2,
Yes.
which brings us down to a complication of 1.
Well,
Because you said it.
the difficulty goes down to 2. Your complication range is still 3.
Okay,
Separate things.
separate thing. And I only have 3 dice. We have 5 momentum. If I want to use one of those for an extra die, that leaves us with 4.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna have to use an extra die. There's no way to get around that. So I have 4 dice.
Yep.
All right, let's see if the dice gods still hate me. No, they do not.
Okay. So you begin the expeditious but methodical list of damage control procedures, going through adjusting the EPS grid as best as you can, sealing off breaches that are losing some, where there are signs you might be losing some atmosphere, and otherwise triggering what fire suppression systems might exist on this ship.
They don't have fire suppression systems on Klingon ships.
You vent you seal off and then vent compartments, only repressurizing where necessary to, where it would be necessary to transit through.
Yeah.
It is a difficult few minutes as you as you try to keep atop the damage, as there's like continuing cascading problems, places where the power grid might risk giving out or something else might blow up. Um, there are probably momentary flutters around the ship that some would probably not readily. It might surprise some people. So there's, consoles probably go offline on the bridge for a moment before coming back online.
Sudden
But
flickers in artificial gravity.
yep, somebody feels about half Earth normal gravity lighter for a moment.
While I'm doing all of this, I'm gonna have Azek find us some place either habitable or inhabited nearby that we can land.
Mm, I will allow you to say, I suppose, that you left orders behind, but otherwise it is difficult to communicate with them right now since the comms are still damaged.
Okay. I would have bellowed. Okay, as I'm moving throughout the whole ship, I'd be like, and I'm sure other people are moving around as well. I would have bellowed it to somebody to go tell that to Azek.
Yep.
Because everybody, who's on board a ship, everybody already knows some form of damage control. If only picking up the rocks that fell out of the ceiling.
Yep. Yep.
So
grabbing
I'm not going to be standing in one spot. I'm going to be all over the damn ship.
Yep. Using the Klingon the Targ bone marrow that is chewed up and substituting for bubble gum and duct tape to try and hold panels in place, a little bit of light welding. You manage just enough to seal up the breaches. Given that you did not have the full time to refit the end to your full specifications before Kal'Vak took this job, it is not a complete task by any stretch of the word. The ship is honestly going to need considerable time in a port to fully repair everything. However, it will keep you alive for the time being.
Yep, that's all I can ask of it right now. And as Azek is doing that, and I don't know how long the repairs are going to take, but someone's going to have to check on our cargo, such as it is.
Yep. Well, Azek, so far as whomever winds up relaying the orders to you, uh, sorry, excuse me there. The well, it's a good question here. The situation is obviously a little bit uh, dicey right now, with most of the crew milling about trying to effect some forms of damage control here. Uh, would you prefer to continue looking for something in the Briar Patch where you could set down, or do you want to try and get back to open space?
Probably in the Briar Patch because it lessens the amount of notice we're gonna have from the folks that were coming after us.
Okay. I'm going to ask you for. I think that the task here would call for a navigation task, or very specifically, sort of a charting task. So this is actually going to ask for your reason and con, assisted by the ship with con and sensors. The difficulty on this task will be 3. This will help sort of give you an idea of what areas might be around.
I would like to spend momentum to get 1 extra dice for my roll.
Oh,
All right. Let's see. And I should note, first off, just to double check, Raldar, did you draw appropriately for the for Tabok's earlier success? Because otherwise, I can assign you momentum from that.
No. One more, I guess.
Okay.
And
Excellent.
now we're maxed out.
Yep. I believe indeed that it would have actually left you with a bit of floating momentum, which, kind GM that I am, I will allow that to go to Azek to affect his task here. But that will, which will in turn meet, and you could possibly gain 1 more floating momentum if you so wish. That'd be sensors and con, I suppose. For anyone that wants to roll for the ship.
okie dokie. Sensors and con, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Sensors, con. Yay, 1 die. Here we go. Probably not helpful.
It was.
Oh, it was helpful. Look at that. Okay.
So that did earn you back 1 more momentum, which again is technically a floating momentum here. So let us see what that gives you. In terms of the immediate area, staying within the within Kal'Vak de Kelbracht, it takes you a good bit of time to breach the dense clouds of supernovae remnant in order to locate anything especially useful. Uh, you can determine, however, through some of the readouts, there might be signs of some some sort of stellar objects. There's at least signs of one world fairly deeper into the patch. It would take some time at Impulse to get you there, but it's possible you're getting atmospheric readings that might be habitable. There are also some relatively nearby. I'd say an Impulse within maybe a day or so travel, there seems to be some freestanding sort of dense asteroid clouds of sorts, remnants of like planets or planetoids. Um, that would probably be those would probably be your best bets for the most nearby objects.
So
Other
we have some place where we could land.
Yeah, you've got a few places essentially. There's let's see, double checking here. There are signs of at least one planet, possibly. It would be a much longer trip to get there, but it is possible. You are limited to impulse, however. Um, More nearby, there would be there's essentially a dense cluster of asteroids and sort of freestanding planetoid remnants, something that might have been part of a planetary system once upon a time, or just something that was condensed from others. It's hard to say precisely, but it would give you. There are fragments out there large enough to allow you to land and probably hide.
Yeah, well, we need something with an atmosphere, breathable.
Hmm.
Generally because of the general condition of the ship.
And somebody needs to go walk the cat.
No, I haven't even gone looking for the cat yet, and I'm worried about Cheshire. So, but I'm not even talking about that right now. I don't necessarily. I've jury rigged a lot of my repairs. We need someplace where if something breaks, we won't vent our atmosphere into the void and die.
Okay. Then the planet you've detected is probably there's at least one in there that is at some distance, but you suspect it might be. Uh, there's a chance it is serviceable, or that conditions could support life.
All right. Well, if we've
Set
got
course, I guess.
some place where we can breathe the air and eat the things there, take us there as quickly as you can, and don't strain the ship too hard.
Mm, mm. You know, for all the successes, if you wish, I could give you something even closer, or set something that is even more in reach if you're prepared to drop the momentum to do so. If you wish to create the advantage, I can give you something that is maybe more marginally habitable, but more of a sure thing, less of a danger, as it were, where you can set down.
I think that'd be beneficial.
Yeah, especially if it's got a population, that would be helpful as well. As
Uh,
long as they're not going to try to kill us.
okay. Well, I I will accept the 2 momentum there. Um,
And was that the 2 floating momentum that we have?
mm,
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So, we will allow that scene to elapse as you spot a place and are able to set a course. Um, as the scene goes forward, we'll have to first start dipping into that. We're going to have to dip into the momentum stockpile for one momentum to keep the jury rigged repairs going, if you still
Yeah,
wish.
yeah. Well, we need those to keep going until we get there.
Yep.
That's most assuredly.
Okay.
Which is why I didn't really want to tap too deeply in this pool.
Yep. So, with that, uh, some hours move as you advance towards what sensor readouts determine to be probably a Class L planet, marginally habitable, but what spectroscopic readings the Rantal tells you you've received, um, it would be habitable. The atmosphere is breathable, essentially.
Okay.
And just to make things easier so that everybody can talk to each other, I think that for our we should probably take a scene for repairing the communications. So if Tabak would like to work on that, or Raldar, we can give you two a scene together.
Wait, what do we need to work on? I apologize.
Well, communications is still they are still
Ah,
damaged right now, and they require
okay.
repairs.
But enough time has passed that Raldar is mobile?
Pretty much, yes.
All right. Good, because I'm going to need his help.
Yep.
All right, so yeah, if Raldar can help out, we got to get. I mean, obviously, comm systems need to come back up. We can't be shouting through the whole ship. So,
All right.
and this is not going to be a jury rigged repair. Um, so that would be control and engineering, right?
Yes, that would.
Okay. I don't know if any of my focuses would work on this. Don't think so. Ship shield systems, ship weapon systems, warp core systems, electroplasma systems, none of the above, so I don't get to use a focus. Complication range is only one, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and I get to use 2 dice. And Raldar gets to throw in an assist.
Yep.
I don't want to tap into any of the momentum right now. We really do need that.
Understandable. This is difficulty 3.
Ah,
Okay.
all right.
And that will be 3 successes there. So
Thank goodness.
a little bit of trial and error takes place, but you do eventually work out something that resets the comm system.
For internal and external comms?
Yes.
Okay. So the comm system is completely, totally functional now.
It is. The repair is a delicate one still, not so much as the jury rig, but more along the lines of the disruptor system. Essentially, when you suffer a breach on your ship, the breach itself doesn't go away, but you can repair the effects of those breaches.
Correct.
When you are out in the field, at least.
So, Raldar, you are doing well. That's a question.
I'm sure there's still a piece of shrapnel in my shoulder somewhere.
You did well, my scaly friend. That warp jump may have saved our lives. It hurt the ship, but we still live.
I have seen enough D6s in action to know that the moment our shields went down, we would have been swarming with Marines.
Ugh. I don't even know if that warp plasma slowed them down at all. We didn't get a chance to look. That was well done. Well played. I commend you.
Thank you. Thank you, Captain.
Raldar hacks and wheezes a little more as he tries to restore power to the disruptors.
Have we yet checked on our quote-unquote cargo?
At this point, unless you gave orders for somebody else to do so, then I would say no. You can go and do that now if you wish, and you can request people are there because request for people to be with you if you so wish because the comms are working properly again.
Yeah. Raldar, stay here in the engine pit. Work on what you can work on. Touch the panel on Kresik.
Yes.
I'm going to need you in the subdeck cargo bay where that miserable Toba kept the slaves he wanted to sell. We need to check on them. Most of them were in stasis pods, but one was loose. And after all of that, I don't know how they have fared.
On my way.
And I sit there and I rub my eyes. I'm still sore from my fight. I haven't taken the time to get fixed, and I'm like,
Oh yeah. For fluff purposes, I'll say that there might have at least been some effort by Kresic during the fight to at least staunch some bleeding, maybe give a quick sort of fusion of wounds, but hardly like any administration of anything for pain or really like fixing a lot of the underlying problems.
right, I'm just trying to power through here.
Yeah.
Like a good person.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, if I'd known we would have had Gorn, I would have made gangways bigger. Because he's probably going to take the elevator down rather than try to crawl down the
There's no way I could make it through any.
No, you've got to use the one cargo elevator to get down.
Yep.
Which is good because so yeah, let us see how well they have fared.
Are they? Could they be considered a threat?
I do not believe so. I did not look in all of the cases. The ones I did look in were children. Koha children.
I see.
I do not know who is in all of them, but power fluctuations aside, we were tossed around quite a bit. So I go push the buttons. Doot, 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 doot.
Yep.
Beep bop, boop beep boop.
What was that?
I was just saying the cargo bay is an absolute mess, as the damage that the ship sustained was it certainly didn't spare this section either. There were while thankfully nothing seems to have caught fire, there's probably at least intermittent sparking from some bits of blown out conduit, containers that have been knocked over. As you make your way to the back of the cargo bay, or back relative from where you entered, more towards the forward section, the area where the pods were stowed is an absolute mess. Some indeed have been knocked from their place. They'd been sort of arranged on a sort of racking to where they were about too high. Some of them have come down at this point. The pods, some of them appear to be damaged, some potentially critically. You can't tell necessarily whether the insides were compromised at first glance, but there's at least signs that any lights that were on them are no longer active. The one emptied pod, or pod that had been previously emptied, is also rolled out of place and quite damaged.
Is the little girl who was running around here, is she okay?
You don't see her anywhere around, but you also don't see any signs of blood or obvious injury that might have been sustained. So if she's alive, then she's about or hiding somewhere.
Child, where are you? Kresic, check those if they're damaged. See what you can do about getting them out. Check them for wounds. We will have to do something with them.
He's already doing that. As soon as he walked in and saw this,
yeah,
I am immediately pulling out my medical scanner and I am trying to figure out how many of these are damaged. Are there triaging it, basically, figuring out which ones need to get pulled out first, if there's any that are beyond saving, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, reason and medicine, difficulty 2.
Can I buy 1 die?
If nobody objects.
Oh, what do we got left in the pool?
5.
Yeah, one. I really wouldn't push it past
That's
one.
fine with me. And I'm guessing one of my focuses will apply here.
Yep, something in emergency medicine, or if triage is a direct
Triage
focus.
is not one, but
Okay.
emergency medicine is.
Then
Reason medicine?
Yes.
Alrighty, let me just check something real quick. Talent that I have. Would this be diagnosing the nature of an illness, injury, psychological problem, or other condition?
I think that would apply.
Alright, so I will gain 1 bonus momentum for every additional d20 I bought by spending momentum.
Okay. So,
And I have cautious, so I'm just going to reroll my last die.
Sure thing.
Okay. At least somebody knows the system.
All right, so that with the bonus should give you 2 momentum back.
Correct. Now, the 1 bonus one that I got can only be used for obtain information or create advantage.
Okay. Do you wish to do either of those things?
Can I get the baseline information first?
Yes. So the readout that you are getting from your medical scanner shows you that seems like there are 18 Kusha that seem to be in the pods. Altogether, well, you can say pretty definitively 3 of the pods were were severely damaged, and that the individuals inside are beyond saving as such. Their vital signs seem to have been terminated, and it seems that it was a combination of either catastrophic pod function and possibly some compromise of the inner structure in at least one case.
Well, if they got smashed around inside when they went all roly-poly, they're probably jellied inside.
Yeah, about a third of the pods are completely unaffected or are still in working order, and they can remain untouched for now. So essentially of the remaining half of them who have been affected in some way, you've discerned a rough order in which they need to be addressed. There are probably 4 of the remaining pods require some assistance, or like they require more immediate assistance as the power levels have, or rather, problems with the EPS grid have actually, one thinks of it, I'd say that their connections rather to the portable power systems that Kal'Vak had set up were severed. So some of them were probably rolled about a bit more. They, you think, could be extracted in fairly short order, albeit with a bit of effort, and from there resuscitated. The other 5 pods are showing signs of relatively stable conditions, but that their life support systems are starting to fail.
All right. So first, I have an out-of-character question.
Yes.
Is it going to be another role to work on these pods to take care of that?
For sake of brevity, I can allow you 1 more roll, essentially, as opposed to making this a full extended task or anything of the sort.
So in that case, can I spend these 2 floating momentum to create the advantage that I've dealt with these kind of stasis pods before?
I'd be willing to say that you've interacted with something like them, or let's say close enough analog.
Right. Back on Gornar, it's not quite the same, but we keep specimens and these kind of things from time to time.
Yes.
Yeah. So then I would like to roll to unfreeze the people that need to be unfreezed.
Okay. I will ask for a control and medicine task since you are so readily capable of it, and I will once again set this to just because some of them are damaged, it will be one more difficulty 2 roll.
All right. And we're
And
back on.
Tabak can assist with this roll.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, good. What do I need to roll to assist?
I'm going to say control and engineering to help compensate for basically you're working with the mechanisms in the pod as Kresik tries to preserve their life.
All right, so 1 die.
Yes.
There you go. Nothing. Sorry. I'm unfamiliar with these systems.
So
Only one success.
okay. You may take the option of succeeding at cost. If you wish, I can essentially assign a complication um, in exchange for that success.
Go for it.
You fine with that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Yep. So the process is it's a bit of a slower one, trying to rescue the individuals from these. But pod by pod, you manage to steadily extract people. The unfortunately, time is a little bit less on your side. Some of the other pods that you had thought would be a little more resilient actually short out in the time that it takes you to disengage some of the others. I will still allow you that you have removed them before they perished. However, there's like essentially they are going to require considerable medical care. Really, none of these people at this point are ready to be brought back to consciousness, but uh, you have a pretty full cargo bay with the surviving Klingons who are uh, all essentially unconscious right now.
All right. Once I finish that, I'm going to turn to our captain and just say, this needs to become a temporary medical facility. 3 beds is not enough.
No, it is not. If you can do it with what you have on hand, do it. I will not subject children to any more harm than they've already suffered.
Yeah, so now that I have them out, what are we looking at here?
I would say that of the group that you've extracted, they are all Klingon Kushop. I would say roughly between the ages of the oldest would probably be in their early 40s to the youngest being probably just on the verge of their teenage years, or maybe about 12. Um, but it's a bit of a mix, both men and women, young and old. Most of them are. The average does round out to be slightly on the older side. So I'd say quite a few more like in their 30s. If these were slave traders, then you would guess prime working age.
But there are still children.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I turn to Tabak and I ask, do you know any of them?
No. These people I do not recognize.
And there was another?
There was a child who had come out of that pod and was conscious, and I spoke with her before everything went directly to hell.
I would like to
I do
try
not
to...
see her here, but I do not see any sign of blood or injury.
I would like to scan for children.
She's loose somewhere in the ship.
I'll just say one more scan. Reasoned medicine here.
xenobiology or not?
I'll give you that.
No. Okay. Difficulty?
Just difficulty 1.
All right, 2 successes.
There we go. Didn't quite load in right away for me. Oh, let's give it a roll from here just to see where she's wound up. Rather, I'm going to see if... Okay, with that, checking down the list. Okay, the sensor reading actually does bear out. You do see signs of a life form, or another Klingon life form. What would you suspect? What you would suspect to be a young Kusha woman, hiding between some of the cargo crates, very like near sort of the back entrance to the cargo bay where Tabak would have initially come through when he first discovered this.
I point toward it, getting Tabok's attention.
Huh?
Over there.
Okay, so I get.
And I kind of get down, hunch down a little bit, and try to whistle as if calling a small pet or dog, but it comes out as this horrible hissing sound, trying to coax this child out.
You scaly fool, move. And then I bend down and, child? I'm looking in there.
She peeks out from behind the cargo.
You are, well, you are, oh, I am pleased that you are still here. That you did not get harmed.
There's a great beast behind you. Is it responsible for what happened?
No, it is not a beast. He is my friend and fellow shipmate. He is our doctor. He is checking to see if any of the rest of them need his assistance, and some do.
The girl starts to maneuver her way around. You may notice she has in her hands a bit of shrapnel that she is grasping. There's no signs of like injury to her personally, but it seems as though she had that classic warrior's instinct to drive that right on home in terms of whoever might have come next.
Good. I like this kid.
Are they okay?
We have lost a couple. The attack on our vessel shook their canisters loose, and they were killed. The rest will hopefully be all right. If we can, we will. We have been very badly damaged. If we can, we will get all of you home. And if you have no homes, I would welcome you either into my house or into my crew.
I would very much like to go home, she says, and as she tries to get up and come out from behind, she stumbles a bit, woozy once again. She's got a bit more strength from when you last saw her, Tabak, but there are pretty clear signs that the prolonged time in stasis and the lack of food or drink in that time have definitely worn away at her strength.
Yes, we need to get these people food.
Yeah. Yep.
I hit the comm system and call to. You know what? I'm just going to call Woe. I'm just going to, bring all of my monsters into the cargo bay all at once. And call to Woe and tell her to please to see, even me, the human Sean, is using please again. Tell her to bring food and water down to the main to the port cargo bay in the subdeck.
On it, Captain.
Captain, on a related note, we found the cat.
You did.
Yep.
Where is that fat bastard?
Well, you asked for food. I figured it might come in
Ah,
handy.
no, you. I will space you.
I'm sure that the cat is quite comfortable in the captain's chair.
More than likely.
Yep.
If it
Just
does help, I do offer my bunk for any of the people, the refugees that need it. I'll just sleep on the bridge.
We have more bunk space than we have crew at the moment. So we will do what we can when we need to. Uh, between regular duties and regular repair and whatever maintenance we have to do, I need anyone not fixing the ship to help Kresick set up his medical facilities here in the cargo bay. Many of these people are injured and damaged. Uh,
Captain, you do not look well.
just now noticing that, my good doctor.
Just now having the opportunity to address it.
We will get these people food and water, and then perhaps I can find some place to go pass out.
Very well.
as the uh, as the hours wear on, Captain, well, I suppose it is assumed at this point, but you realize that that is undoubtedly one of many questions you are going to need to sort out, Tabak. Your ship is
Which?
da- your ship is damaged. Its
Uh-huh.
commanding officer and indeed part owner dead, uh, at your hand, of course. On most Klingon ships, that would be sufficient to guarantee your leadership, but there are open questions as to whether the crew's loyalty will go with you this far. Then there's the questions of getting the ship properly repaired, how much you will be able to do on the planet that you are hoping to land on,
And not die.
yes, and not
Mm.
die in the process. Complicating all of that, there are presuming everyone's survival, there is an Orion cruiser and 3 Klingon D6 battle cruisers out in the elsewhere in the Kal'Vak de Kal'Vak. Uh,
Well, I'm certainly hoping that the Orions are taken care of, and I'm hoping that the Klingon ships think we're blowed up.
um, there's a lot to hope on and many questions left unanswered, and
Yes,
much that you and your crew will have to discuss.
yes.
And I think that that is a discussion best had next week. So we are going to cut the session there. For those watching on YouTube, this is where we are going to leave you here for the night. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope you are able to catch us for next time. Until then, this is your GM in the Great Barrier signing off.